interest. So you got Hillary Clinton reappears on the world stage and suddenly now it's in your face. It's in your grill. But there's another aspect to this, Tony, because we're 1 year. Yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of the bombing of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Yeah. And we would be remiss to not talk about the deep-seated financial and energy interests that so many of our senators, even Republicans, the 28 Republicans here, are directly tied to, because there's so many direct, as I said, financial and energy interests at play here.
Right. Look, I think we all know who did it. You tweeted out, and I retweeted your tweet of Joe Biden saying he was going to take it out. Seymour Hersh, and I know Cy Hersh put out, I think, a credible Ukrainians on a sailboat. It's like somebody got to get smart, for goodness sake. Really? 2 men in a rowboat? I mean, come on. We do know that there was interest to take that out and diminish the ability of Russia to make money and energy to go to Germany. So that's what's at stake here. We're talking right now about the fact that they're trying to move everything out of carbon fuels, carbon-based fuels, to this renewable class of things, and they fund farmers to move people into a position where they have to depend on a grid which they control, and cars that have computers that they control. And again, I don't see how people don't see this sort of thing, Jack. This is all going on. And there's the other day, we put $10 billion into EVs for purposes of trying to turn our whole economic system of how we drive into this EV dream of theirs. It's very dangerous, and I think at this point, it again is part of this larger effort to get people to give up what has actually worked and worked very well. But that's what's going on. The Inflation Reduction Act was nothing but a reshellacking, a repainting of the New Green Deal, and they funded it. And so that's why they're trying to work so hard to do this sort of two-step regarding energy. The only other thing I'll say about that real quick is that Ukraine does have energy resources that would be able to compete with Russia. And I would argue that's one of the reasons they want Ukraine out from under the Russian influence, because in 2014 they found immense reserves of oil and gas in the Donbass and Black Sea. They don't want Russia to have that. They want the EU to have that. It goes back to this global governance thing, and that's why they want to pull it out from under Russia. Ultimately, I think many of the underpinnings of the war in Ukraine has to do with energy and who gets to control the energy.
I mean, Tony, we've talked about it so many times, but Ukraine is a nexus. We talked about it last week, how Ukraine is the secret playground of the globalists, and we talked about the child trafficking. We also had an interview where we talked about the baby factories in Ukraine, the oil, the energy, even the farmland where they're trying to enter and the GMOs in for total control of this earth, because what is Ukraine at the end of the day? The fertile breadbasket of it all. And if you don't think that they're, Tony, when we're talking about just put all this together, put a number on it for us. How much money are we talking about that's on the table here? If Trump says we're going to get out, there's no more war, we're gonna bounce, and then Russia is able to come in, how much money is actually at play to lose for these interests?
Well, let's think about what they spent so far, $100 billion. Most of that spent right in Washington. It didn't go to Ukraine. It goes to U.S. interest in corporations, which make money off of it. McConnell admitted this the other day in the Senate. So right now we're talking, if you just take, Jack, us spending approximately, I think the estimates are about $3 trillion in Afghanistan over 20 years. It's got to be more than that by an order of stand, which really wasn't much to it to rebuild, since there wasn't much there. this you're talking about essentially Ukraine becoming an experiment for the World Economic Forum and your Build Back Better. And literally, that's what's going on. Look, I think that, Jack, that's why they don't want to negotiate in the war. They want more destruction. Putin is going to give
too many of these vultures. Too many of these vultures have their beaks in. They don't care about the Ukrainian people.
Right.
They'll lie about this Black Sea commander. They said he's dead. Oh, he turns up alive. They'll lie about the missile that hit the Polish farmers. They said, oh, it was Russia. No, it wasn't Russian. It was Ukrainian. They'll lie, and they'll continue to lie because there are billions and billions at
no, there's trillions. Trillions.
Trillions. Wow, trillions. They are Russia, and Julian Assange said it. They're washing the American tax base out. If you think this is about helping the people of Ukraine or helping anyone overseas, just go ask the 120,000 Armenians that just got ethnically cleansed out of Artsakh, whether we actually care about human rights anywhere in the world. Tony Schaefer, I know we got to run. We're going to Michigan. Where can people go to follow you, get more information?
Spooky on Twitter, where you and I follow each other, and projectsentinel.com or .net. Good to talk to you, Jack. See you again soon.
Appreciate the briefing, as always, Lieutenant Colonel. All right, Human Events goes live to Michigan, the UAW worker strike. Live Human Events Daily. We're about to go now. We're working on bringing up a shot. We've got Steve Gruber of Real America's Voice is down there with the striking UAW workers, auto workers. And this is a real inflection point for, I think, the Republican Party and really the populist movement in this country. Because if you remember, the Republican Party used to be the party of the owners, the party of the ultra-rich, the ultra-wealthy. That's all totally shifted. Now, Joe Biden, that's why he flew out there and spent, 87 seconds actually talking to the people on the line. And guys, let me know when we're set up to go in. But what you're seeing Trump doing, and Trump going there tonight to counter-program there is a Republican debate, but I don't know how many people are actually watching. I heard Fox is actually slashing the ad rates because it's projected to be such a snoozer that he is sided with the American workers. So when I talk about the special interests overseas, the special interest to send billions of dollars overseas, whether it's a military-industrial complex, whether it's finance, whether it's agribusiness, whether it's big pharma, whether it's baby factories, any of these various interests, pharmaceutical companies that are raking in the dough out of Ukraine, you got to understand that all of that, at the same time, is underpinned by the U.S. Chamber that has these deals with China. and the fact that China has unfettered access to American markets. This has destroyed American manufacturing, destroyed our industry, destroyed our infrastructure. I talk about it how many times on the show. The Midwest, the South, it was gutted by design by these people. And why? Because there's money. Because there's so much money involved in it. And so when President Trump goes there as a Republican, it shows you two things. Number one, the restructuring of the Republican Party, and the reason that Joe Biden's there is because the Democrats are terrified of the Rust Belt. They know that Trump is the only Republican that has the ability to win the Rust Belt. And I'm told that we have Steve Gruber now on the scene to kind of explain it to us just a little bit. Can we go to Steve, guys? Steve, how you doing, man?
Doing good, Jack. Good to talk to you here today. We're at this event, Clinton Township. These folks are out here for Donald Trump because, well, as you know, these guys are fired up, Jack. I mean, really fired up. Donald Trump led a revolution in this country. I heard you talking about it. How Democrats used to be the party of the middle class, the party of labor. But Donald Trump has brought all of those people across the aisle. He's brought middle class, working class, UAW folks across the aisle. And I've got a gentleman right here I want to talk to you for just 1 second. You were a former UAW member, right? And you said your best times were when you were working and Donald Trump was president. Tell me about that.
I am a current UAW worker. I have 28 years. The 4 years under Donald Trump were the best 4 years out of the whole 28 years I've worked for Stellantis. Under Clinton, under Obama, and under Biden, I've been afraid of losing my job.
And Jack, he's afraid of losing his job as a UAW member 28 years. The best time he ever had was with Donald Trump in the White House. So here's what we're hearing. The move is to Donald Trump. The move is to Donald Trump by working class people. You know that. So Donald Trump's going to be here in Clinton Township tonight. It's an invitational only event. Otherwise, the line would be down around 3 or 4 miles from here. But it's an invitation only event. But the people that are going in with those invitations pretty fired up to be here. And you are exactly right, Jack. When you say that the Democrats and Joe Biden are afraid of the Rust Belt, you couldn't be more right. It's Michigan, it's Wisconsin, it's Ohio, it's Pennsylvania. The states that are the industrial base, they're all leading to Donald Trump, Jack. It looks like it's going to be a good night.
Steve, can you ask me, what is the role of China? Do they understand, is China a major issue for them when they see the Republicans versus the Democrats, or really just Trump versus everyone else?
Well, let me ask my friend here. China. How do you look at China as a threat to American productivity, to constructive building things in this country? Is it one of the things you think about?
China is a huge threat. I think all the EV push is to make China rich.
Well, there you have it. A lot of folks. Here's what we know today, Jack. The people that work on the line at Stellantis making Jeep and Chrysler or at Ford or GM, they can't afford to buy one of these $80,000 or $100,000 EVs. The people that work on the line can't afford the vehicles they're making. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with it in America where you can't buy what you're making on the line. Not to mention 40% of those auto workers, about 60,000 people, 5 or 8 years from now won't have jobs because it takes 40% less labor to build an EV than it does to build an internal combustion motor vehicle in Detroit or Toledo or Missouri or anywhere else in this country.
So what do we think about Biden showing up? I understand he was only there for a couple of minutes.
Well, it was pretty funny. We talked lots to you about that. He was on the ground at the UAW event total for 12 minutes. He spoke for, I think you got right, 87 seconds. They don't think about Joe Biden. Not much at all, in fact. They have no issue at all. What do you think? Trump or Biden? Trump? All right. Wait, what do you think of Joe Biden? Just thought I'd take a quick instant poll for you, Jack. There it is.
Now, I understand they're in line for Trump, but is there any, we've got about 90 seconds left, is there anyone else, we do the Republican debate tonight, is there anyone else that they're looking at in terms of the Republican field?
I've talked to several people here today. No is the answer. The short answer is no. Donald Trump leads the You've had two. Nobody's paying attention. It's not denting Donald Trump standing in the polls. He's still dominating. He's running away with it, frankly. I'm not even sure if there's another Republican in double digits anymore now that the governor of Florida has faded so much. So you have to wonder, why would you continue having these debates at the Ronald Reagan Library or anywhere else for that matter if nobody's paying attention? Because you know who's going to get attention tonight? Donald Trump will. You know who wins the debate tonight? Donald Trump probably will, just like he did the last time around. I mean, there's no point in having a debate. Will you watch the debate ever?
No, I will not. Not unless Trump participates.
I think there's your answer.
Simple as that, Steve. We're just about out of time on here, and I know you'll come up. So if you guys want more with Steve, he's going to be coming up after us. And folks, I think Steve is exactly right. That in this current moment, we know that it is Donald Trump who has a dominant lead. And what we really need to do is these other guys, they can shift into VP debates if they want to do something like that, set up a little episode of The Apprentice. But the workers of America understand that we must put Trump back in the White House to release the political prisoners like Owen Schroyer, like so many others, and actually confront China on the world stage and the end.
Here are some of the headlines we are featuring today from your favorite news outlets at offthepress.com. The House Freedom Caucus is not on board with the Senate's bipartisan short-term budget deal and is pressing for
And then later, we'll take a look at a new documentary that exposes the hidden agenda behind a global green policy and the global war on farmers that's forcing many of them out of business. The director and the host of the documentary joins us live. That's coming up. But let's start things off with a look ahead to the GOP debate tonight and what some of the candidate strategies might be. Plus, what will President Trump have to say to union workers in Michigan as he forgoes the debate in California? We'll get you out to Detroit and talk with Steve Gruber, who's normally here with you in a minute. But first, let's focus on tonight's debate in California, where 7 GOP presidential hopefuls will look to make an impression. These are the candidates who qualified to be on the debate stage. We're going to show them to you here momentarily. While President Trump remains the clear frontrunner, his former Vice President Mike Pence will try to plot his own path, in part by taking a different position on Ukraine than President Trump.
If we allow Vladimir Putin to grab Ukraine, we're going to end up in a global conflict, because if he takes Ukraine, I have no doubt in my mind that not only will he move against a NATO ally eventually, but also China will see a green light in its military ambitions and move against Taiwan. We've given Ukraine, I believe, just enough not to lose, but we're the arsenal of democracy. We ought to be giving them the resources to defeat the Russian military.
Pence has been one of the loudest voices for giving more money to Ukraine to help beat the Russians. It's an argument former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley has made as well, but Haley's strategy seems to be emphasizing her likability factor. She argues that she is the one candidate who can actually bring new people into the Republican Party.
We have to have someone that can win a general. A primary win doesn't matter if we end up with the President Kamala Harris. That cannot happen. And so the goal is, this is a story about addition. You want more people to join us. It doesn't mean you have to soften on being conservative. It means how you communicate. And instead of pushing people away, you're bringing people in. If we've lost the last 7 out of 8 popular votes for president, that is nothing